welcome to the final segment of Guilderland Mew Mew Redesigned. We have 4 Mew Mews left, but before we go into them, I should probably explain where they come from. The original 5 were from the Mew project sent overseas by Ryu. The second group of 5 was an accident using leftover DNA from the Mew project. But what about these 4? Well, before Elliot asked for his cousin's help, he tried to recreate the Mew project on his own. When he didn't get any sort of reaction from the girls with matching DNA, he thought his project didn't work. But it did. It just needed a kickstart from Mew Aqua. When the main team started investigating Mew Aqua and the aliens started using it, it triggered the Mew project in the final 4 Mew Mews. They began to fight on their own under the radar of the main Mew Mew team. The leader of this brand new team is Mew Liliana. Liliana was in the original final 4, and she was actually the last Mew Mew to join the team. In this recreation, Liliana is careful and calculative in battle. She's overall very level-headed and down-to-earth. While being a Mew Mew comes as a surprise to her, she takes to it very easily. She does find being a Mew Mew a bit of a nuisance and would rather focus on her senior year of high school, but she understands that she is needed. Instead of this part of the story being more episodic, I imagine it more like either a 2-part finale or like a short movie to finish off the series. So where does Liliana come into play? Well, during an alien attack, Liliana would reveal herself to the other Mew Mews. She fights alongside them, and afterwards she follows the girls back to the cafe as they have a lot of questions for her. She tells them that she has been fighting on and off for a while, mentioning that there were alien attacks that the main team was unaware of. They ask her if she's been fighting alone. Liliana hesitates before saying yes. Several of the girls find the hesitation suspicious, and so does Elliot. Christine questions how Liliana could possibly be a Mew Mew if there were only 2 instances of Elliot's Mew project being set off. Elliot explains that he did try to create his own Mew project before the initial one, but he thought it had failed. It's at this point that there's a loud crashing sound outside the cafe, and there's some shouting, though nobody can distinguish what's actually being said. We'll get back to what happens next in a little bit, but for now let's focus on Liliana's redesign. Liliana keeps her long dark hair, but it's now tied up in a braid. Her original color scheme had 3 colors in it, but I decided to narrow it down to just yellow and white. I got rid of her long sleeves for a halter top with a small peplum at the bottom. Her skirt is now a plain white pencil skirt, and she still has her thigh highs and heels, but they're different colors. Her weapon is still a whip, but it's now combined with a piccolo. Liliana's new name is Lila, and her new Mew Mew name is Mew Lemon. Next up, I'm going to be talking about Leah. Leah is headstrong, impulsive, and very caring, though she does have a unique way of showing it. She's very athletic and is physically the strongest of the Mew Mews. She enjoys being a Mew Mew and fighting the aliens. To her, it's an easy way to blow off steam after school. When last we left off, there was yelling and a crashing sound outside. When the whole team approaches the front of the cafe, they can hear the yelling more clearly now. Let Lila go! Bring her out or I'll smash this place apart! Elliot rushes outside to stop Leah, who is the one yelling, from destroying his cafe. Liliana sighs and walks out behind him. Leah has her Mew Mew weapon raised and ready to smash more of the building when Liliana stops her. She tells Leah that this wasn't part of the plan, but apparently Leah doesn't trust the other Mews and came on her own in case anything happened. Liliana asks about Hjar and Christina, and Leah admits that they told her not to come and to follow Liliana's plan. With the mention of the other two Mews, alongside Leah showing up, Liliana now has more explaining to do. She tells of how the four of them discovered their powers when they were coming home from a late-night study session at the library. There was a bright blue light and suddenly they were Mew Mews. It's then that Elliot realizes that the Mew Aqua was what was missing from his original experiment. When asked why they didn't show themselves sooner, Liliana mentions that she didn't want this to become her whole life. All four of the final Mews are seniors and will be going off to college soon. They can't be fighting all of the time. She also wasn't sure if she could trust the other Mew Mews, and if they would respect the girls' decisions not to focus on fighting. Ashley insists that they meet the other girls. Liliana agrees that it's probably a good idea and decides to call Hjar. But the one who answers the phone isn't her. So let's focus on Leah's new outfit. I toned down her green so it's a lot more pastel, and I gave her a more sporty look. Her entire outfit is different, right down to her Converse boots. The top splits off around the waist into a sort of half skirt. Her weapon did used to be a magic wand, but now it's a bassoon mixed with a mace. Leah's new name is Liv, and originally I did have her down as Mew Salt, but I actually thought that Mew Lime fits her a little bit better. Next is Hjar. She's sweet and smart, but can be a bit shy. She doesn't like fighting, but she finds confidence in doing so among her friends. She is in a relationship with Christina, and the two of them are inseparable. Now getting back to the story portion, Liliana calls Hjar to have her and Christina meet up at Cafe Mew Mew. Unfortunately, one of the aliens picks up her phone instead. Liliana threatens the aliens, but they only give one warning to come and surrender or their teammates will pay with their lives. Liliana is worried, and Leah is just pissed off. But Ashley and the other girls reassure them that they have the aliens beat in sheer numbers alone. This leaves Leah fired up, and they set off to save Christina and Hjar. Unfortunately, it's a trap, and several of the other girls are captured by a plant chimera. The team splits off, and some stay behind to fight the chimera, while the others go after the aliens directly. Both sides put up quite a fight, but in the end, the Mew Mews prosper by freeing their captured teammates and working together. Before retreating, the aliens give a vague warning about an impending battle coming, one that the Mew Mews won't be able to beat. Hjar's look has also changed quite a bit. Her design is a lot more covered now, featuring pants, a high-low style top, and a hijab. Her colors are pretty much the same, but a bit darker and less saturated. Her weapon is a recorder mixed with a dagger. Her new name is now Haya, and she is Mew Lychee. Finally, we have Christina. Christina is a serious person and keeps her emotions hidden. She does have a soft spot for her girlfriend, who can often leave her more flustered than she'd like. She is Liliana's second in command in this team. New Mews have joined the larger team, they have to help figure out what the impending battle to come really is. After returning to Cafe Mew Mew, Elliot receives a call from his cousin in Japan. There are swarms of chimera attacks in Tokyo, and Ryu warns his cousin that he thinks the final battle is coming. Elliot returns to the Mews and informs them to prepare for a final battle. The main battle may be in Japan, but the girls should still expect something big, as the aliens warned. The team mentally prepares and returns home for the night. Unfortunately, that battle will come all too soon for them. During school the following day, there is a report of an alien spacecraft appearing over the capital city. School is dismissed and civilians are ordered to stay in their homes for protection. But the Mew Mews disregard the order, transform, and head straight for the spacecraft. Upon arriving, they are met with the police force attempting to defend themselves from chimeras. Liliana and her team volunteer to stay behind to help, while the others move forward to meet the aliens below the spacecraft. To be continued. So let's talk about Christina's new outfit. She's keeping her white hair, but now features an undercut style. Her colors have been reduced to only red and white. The main idea of her design is the same, but she now has a belt with an attached high-low cape. And I also gave her wolf ears some cool little piercings. Her original weapon was, and I kid you not, a gun. Yeah. It's an axe mixed with a guitar now. Her new name is Cleo, and she is Mew Cherry. Now we do still have a story to finish, but I want to introduce you to the alien enemies of Guilderland Mew Mew. Here we have Eclair. She is the least serious member of the trio. Britty is the quiet and inquisitive one. He's the smartest out of the three of the aliens. And finally, we have Gelato. He's the leader of the group and is set on doing his job without fail. He is hard-headed and harbors much hate for the human race. Much like the original Tokyo Mew Mew, several of the Mews would have relationships with the aliens that would grow throughout the story. Ariana and Marissa would end up becoming friends with Eclair, Christine would end up having a romantic relationship with Britty, and Gelato would have a complicated relationship with Ashley. Since he hates humans, he wouldn't exactly be able to distinguish his feelings about her. Alright guys, buckle up tight because we're about to take the journey to the end of Guilderland Mew Mew, and it's gonna be long. So 10 of the 14 Mews are now below this alien ship, ready to fight whatever comes their way. Someone exits the ship and lands on the ground in front of the Mew Mews. The aliens bow in front of this new alien. She introduces herself as General Cuillin, head of Deep Blue's forces. The general orders the Mew Mews to surrender their planet, and maybe she won't kill them. Of course, the Mew Mews refuse, and the battle with Cuillin and the other aliens commences. Liliana and her team rejoin the battle, and it seems that they may win, but many new chimeras are being summoned, and suddenly the Mew Mews have their hands full. Cuillin grows bored of the fight and returns to the spacecraft to begin the annihilation of the human race, but not before Ashley, Caitlin, and Deanna can follow her aboard. The battle continues between the aliens and the remaining Mew Mews on the ground. Using their relationships with the aliens, the Mew Mews would eventually turn Birdie and Eclair against the General and the Chimeras. Unfortunately, that doesn't help how powerful the Chimeras created by the General are, and the battle rages on. In the ship's stronghold, the 3 original Mews make their way to General Cuillin. She's about to send communication to Deep Blue when she's attacked by the Mew Mews. Their battle is fierce and evenly matched, despite it being 3 against 1. Cuillin summons Gelato to her side to keep the Mews busy while she continues the destruction of humanity. While in a heated battle with him, Ashley tries to convince Gelato to side with humanity, that they don't need to destroy everything. Gelato has an internal struggle before turning on the General. But it's too late. General Cuillin has unleashed a weapon that is destroying the planet below. Seeing the incoming blast and thinking fast, Sarah summons her shields to defend all of her friends. She does save the Mew Mews from being killed, but the blast still renders them unconscious. Thankfully, the Chimeras were also destroyed by the weapon. Back aboard the ship, Ashley, Deanna, and Caitlin think that their friends have perished and attack the General in a fury of rage and grief. She retaliates, knocking out Deanna and Caitlin in the process, and Ashley is momentarily stunned. While she's distracted, Gelato attacks Cuillin from behind. She tears him off of her, calls him a traitor, and then promptly kills him. Ashley regains her focus and is devastated to see what happened. She desperately grabs Caitlin and Deanna's hands and begs them to lend her their power. They begin to awaken and start glowing, their powers combining. Below the ship, the other Mew Mews awaken to see the destruction around them. They're weak, but they know that they need to help their team on the ship above. They summon their power to lend to their friends. The power of all 14 Mew Mews flows through Ashley, Deanna, and Caitlin. They direct their power at the General, defeating her, and in the process taking out the world-destroying weapon. With the General's defeat, the girls begin to celebrate, but Ashley quickly notices that Gelato is hurt. Eclair and Birdie teleport onto the ship and are shocked to see that their brother is dead. Birdie quickly tells the girls to use the Mew Aqua they've been collecting to heal him. They do as they're told, and Gelato starts to awaken. The girls decide to use the rest of the Mew Aqua to heal the city below. Once they're reunited with their teammates and they all heal the city, their battle comes to an end. The aliens decide to return to their home planet with Mew Aqua from Earth in order to try and heal it, but they do promise to return again to see their friends. And that is the story of Guilderland Mew Mew, and the end of Guilderland Mew Mew Redesigned. I hope you all enjoyed this project, and thank you for sticking with me through this long Mew Mew-filled journey.